Hello and welcome. In this video we will talk about workflows and statuses. Before we can talk about each of the service types in details, we need to cover workflows. I need you to understand workflows. As you may remember, when you edit or create a service, you need to choose its workflow. So here, for example, for the productized service, I need to select one of the workflows. In this video, we'll cover in detail what are workflows, how to create them, how to use them, and what they are for. So let's first go into workflows. And here, as you can see in the demo content, we have 5 workflows created. You can create as many workflows as you like. Each of them can have similar statuses. They can share statuses across all the workflows, or they can have unique statuses included. Here you can see that the blocked status is only used in the general inquiry workflow. To create statuses, you need to go to the statuses tab, and here you can specify as many statuses as you like. Click the create status button in the top right corner. Give it a name, let's call it test. You can select one of the presets, so we have different presets, or use the custom settings where you can choose both color of the text and color of the background separately, so you can do some crazy color combinations. For now, we will discard this. The statuses basically are labels that are displayed on your requests, so your clients can easily see what is the status of the request. They can also be used internally. You can select in workflows if the statuses should be shown to the customer or not. So now let's see how they are used and what are workflows. Let's use for now one of the existing workflows to explain you how they work. So we will edit the productized service workflow, and as you can see, it contains few sections. I will go one by one and explain them. First section is custom fields. Custom fields are also unlimited. You can create as many custom fields as you like, choosing from 5 field types. So we have short message, long message, URL, single select, and multi-select. Basically, the concept of custom fields is used to store additional information inside the request. So if we go to the request and select one with the productized service, because it is using the same workflow as we are editing, you can see in the right side in the request details panel that we have these different accordions. One of them is custom fields. Custom fields currently are empty because we haven't set them, but you can choose from options that we have specified in the workflow. So as an agent, I can fill this out. So for example, give the priority to this request of high, and for example, select competencies needed to resolve the request. I can always, as an agent, edit those. They are only seen by operators of the platforms. By operators, I mean agents, managers, admins, owners. And you can also quickly jump to manage those. Of course, this will redirect us to editing the workflow. So you can create as many custom fields as you like. You can rearrange them, edit them, delete them, do whatever you like with them. They're a great way to store additional information about the project or the client. Next are the checklists. Workflows can define the default checklist items. So for example, here we have sign an NDA, customer onboarding, collect information. Those tasks will be added to every request that is created with this workflow. So if we go to our test order, here we have checklist. At the top we can see the progress. So if we complete one of those, it will be shown here. Of course, those are the default one. Every agent can create new ones on the fly for each request, and they will be only available in that request, so they won't be added to the workflow or anything like this. To add more the default tasks to the checklist, you need to do this inside the workflow. This is a way to show the progress of work. You can enlarge this, so if you have a lot of tasks, you don't have to manage them inside the sidebar. Okay, let's go back to workflows. Next are statuses. This is kind of a critical part of each workflow because statuses are used for triggers and also are used for requests inside the subscription, because you can limit how many requests can be submitted in each subscription. So for example, if a request is in status in progress, because it is in a group active, it will be counted towards active requests. To understand those three groups and what they are used for, we need to switch for a second to services again and to one of the subscription services, because those groups are mainly used to limit subscriptions. So as you can see here, in a subscription service, we have request limits. When this is enabled, you can limit the amount of requests each client that purchased your subscription can submit. So, max number of completed requests. So how we count this? It is based on the number of requests that have a statuses from the completed group. So of course, as you can see, in pending you have new evaluation, in active you have in progress, in completed you have done. Each of those groups may contain more than one status. So every request that contains a status from this group will be counted towards this limit, max numbers of completed requests. Of course, you can select if it's completed weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. So you can set that max number of completed requests per month is 12. So if we have 12 requests that have statuses from this group, no more requests will be completed this month. So the next one is max number of concurrent active requests. What concurrent means is during the same time. So you can have at any time only one request that has a status from the active group. So in this case, the status in progress. And the last one is total concurrent requests. By total, we mean the groups pending and active. So we add those two. Total number can be set. So for example, if we set 5, only 5 requests can have status new, evaluating, or in progress at the same time. Those limits, those request limits, also affect ability of the customer to submit new requests, to change their status, because you can configure the platform in a way that the customer can control in which status the current task is. What I mean by that is the customer can control what your team is currently working on for them, so they can create a backlog of tasks and then drag one of the tasks to, for example, in progress status or active, or however you will call it. And this will signal your team to get started on the selected request. But for example, if the limit of concurrent active requests is set to 1, they won't be able to drag more than one request at a time to the active area. Here you can also add new statuses. So when we add new status, it is by default set to the pending group, and you can drag it to the other groups, as you can see here. Of course, we can delete the status and we can also edit it. So next are triggers. Triggers are used to set automatically the status of a request. So for example, here we can see a trigger for creating a new request. That means that every request that has this workflow set will be assigned status of new once the request is created. You can add many different triggers. Here you can see on the right in which service types those triggers are supported. So for example, in subscription service, you cannot send a quote. That's why trigger quote send is not available in the subscription status. So how you can use those triggers is that, for example, with a quote send, you can create a status of awaiting approval. Then when the payment request is sent, and you can set this to automatically send a payment request once the quote is approved, then the status would be set to awaiting payment. And once the quote is paid, the status would automatically change to, for example, paid. The same can be done for quote completed. So the scope of the quote was completed, and the system can automatically change the status to, for example, done. This gives you a lot of flexibility. So next are additional settings, and they are a little bit all over the place, I would say. So first of all, we have follow-up message. What follow-up message means is you can automatically reply to each request. So let's jump back to the request we were previously viewing. So test order. And here you can see we have a Zenbot. Of course, you can change their avatar and name. And he sent, as a first reply, he sent this message that is specified here. You can do the same for follow-up message on completed request. So once the request is marked as completed, then a separate message would be sent. This can be used for example, gathering customer reviews. So here you can write a message to the customer asking them to leave you a review. Here you can specify if the agents are visible to clients. So what this means is that they will see the list of assigned agents in the request details tab. So if we go here, you can see that currently we don't have any agents or watchers assigned, but if we had, for example, few of those, if this option is checked, the client would be able to see the list. If the watchers are visible to the clients, this is the same thing, but for watchers. So here they would see assigned watchers. Status is visible to client. This is also to limit the visibility of statuses. If you want to use statuses just for internal purposes, then you would set this to disabled. Then the clients won't be able to see your statuses, but your operators of the platform would. And a connected setting is should the client be notified about status change, and you can enable or disable this. So those are the workflows. Of course, you can use one workflow in multiple services. That's why they are a separate thing. So you don't have to set all those things, all those settings for each service. You can create even one workflow and use this across all your service catalog. This will streamline your work and the amount of work you may have if you have a lot of services. Of course, with different service types, we recommend using different workflows because they are behaving differently. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them below, and see you in the next one. Cheers!